Hey everyone, and welcome to the second and final part of this series in which we'll look at how I record and process my commentary in program. Note that I don't use Audacity to process my audio, I use Adobe Audition CS6, so this will not be an Audacity tutorial, even though I've got Audacity open right now. The Audacity and Audition are basically the same program, but Audition has a little bit more polish to it, even though I'm sure that with a few of the user extensions and scripts and stuff for Audacity, you could probably do the same thing that Audition does, but I don't know how to do them in Audacity, so and I find them really easy to do in Audition, so unfortunately this just isn't going to be a completely free tutorial because Adobe Audition does cost money to buy. So first, let's get into the programs that I use to capture my voice. I use Audacity, Adobe Premiere Pro CS5, and Adobe Audition CS6, as I've mentioned before. Audacity, right here, is very simple. You just select your microphone right here. It's grayed out because it's recording on a separate instance on the other monitor right now, so I can't click record or stop, because if I click stop, it'll stop the recording on the other monitor, as I found out just before. Basically, you just select your microphone, adjust your microphone volume that you can get right here to about 65 to 80, depending on how loud your voice is, and then hit record right here. After you're done, export the audio as a .wav file or a WAV file. This is basically how I do my live commentary stuff. Now let's quickly record something in Adobe Premiere Pro CS5, just to show you how the narration tool works. And then we'll pull that into Audition. See, right here I've got one of the episodes from my live playthrough of Dark Souls 2 open right now. This is episode 26. And this is my processed audio that I have right here. We're not going to be doing anything with that, so I'm just going to hide the waveform so it doesn't look too confusing. Now notice the timeline right here. We've got video and audio 1. This is the game video and the game audio. Video 2 is the intro that I use at the start of every one of my videos. And video 3 is the watermark that I put down the bottom right hand corner of every video. We're ignoring basically all of that, and I'm going to say we have an empty audio 3, which is usually where I record my commentary. So we'll go to audio 3 right here in the audio mixer. We'll go to enable track for recording. You'll see it has the microphone right there. And what you'll really want to do is click mute track, because otherwise if you record without it, you will hear your, like if you have speakers or headphones on, you will hear your voice played back to you as it's recorded, slightly desynchronized with your own voice. So there's not much more unnerving and distracting than having your own voice play in your ears while you try and talk. So always keep this muted basically until you're going to go back and look at the final product, in which case you'll need to unmute it in order to hear it when you play. So after you've prepared this audio 3 track, you go to this little red button down here, record. You click it. It's not recording yet. And then you hit play, stop, toggle. So we're just going to do a quick test here. This is our audio that we're going to be editing in Audition. And stop. So we are going to have a look at this audio, which has appeared just down here, as you can see. It's pretty tiny. But there it is, audio 3_2.wav. You can right click it in here in the shit, I don't even know what to call this. This is the shit you have in your video tray. Now this is all really interesting, but what we want is reveal in Explorer. and it'll bring you right to wherever you have your audio or your video recording to, where the project file is. So you can go audio32.wav, that's good. We will minimize Premiere Pro and click and drag audio32 into Adobe Audition. We double click this, it'll open it up in the waveform, which is really, really good. So I process my voice. It's not really like that episode of The Simpsons where, you know, when Bart's in a boy band. I just try to make my voice a bit brighter, a bit deeper, and more crisp. Generally, it's just to make it a little bit more pleasant to listen to, and I like to keep the game sound a little bit under my voice. So, yeah. Also, keep in mind that I had to buy Adobe Audition in order to use it. CS6 unfortunately runs about $300 to $500 unless you can get a copy through a school, which I highly recommend. It's exactly what I did. It was about $90 after that, so bit of a price difference. So after we've dragged our audio into Audition, it appears right here. And as you can see, like, here's our waveform. We've got 2 channels because most microphones will record in stereo, despite, you know, generally recording in mono. I'm not really an audio guy, so I can't totally explain how things go, but you can zoom in here, have a look at the waveform, and you can see that everything's kind of squiggly right here. Not too much so, but at certain points, it does get squigglier. It goes above the line. This is basically hum. This is that slight sound behind the voice that most of the time you won't even notice. But when you go back and look at some videos, or you have really, really good headphones on, you might be able to hear it. And what goes into part of this hum is a lot of the time like speaker sound, fan sound, fan noise from your computer. I have a giant desktop right next to me at the moment, and if my audio editing is worth anything at all, you probably can't hear it, and the microphone contributes a lot to that as well. So basically what I do in my editing is I keep to a specific formula. This is where things get a little bit complicated, and I'll be even more, shit, I don't know the word. I'll be even less clear than I usually am. So I will warn you that I may not explain things fully here. Instead, I will link you to a tutorial that I use to start out if you have any questions for after. So my processing is all tied to a single hotkey in Audition. I just click, select it all, and I press V, which is basically my voice processing key. And as you'll see in the history right here, it does a parametric equalizer, it normalizes, it does dynamics processing, which is my compressor, it normalizes, and then it does more dynamics processing, which is my noise gate. Then it does an equalizer for the brightness of my voice again, and then it normalizes again because the dynamics processing makes everything a bit quieter. Now, this is basically what I do. Like, I just drag things into here, and then I select it all, I press V, and then I go to File, Export, File, please appear on this monitor, thank you. And I export as a 48,000 Hertz mono 32-bit, and the important bit right here is mono, because if you do stereo with a microphone, generally it's just going to be twice as big for absolutely no reason. You can export as mono, it'll play the same track through both ears if you've set it up right, which most programs will just have it set it up right to begin with. And you won't have any problems, and you'll have half the space used up. So instead of 2.24 meg, you'll have 4.48 meg if you have stereo. And this doesn't sound like a lot of difference, but when you're talking for an hour and your finished file in stereo is about 800 meg and your finished file in mono is about 400 meg, it makes a bit of a difference, especially if you have space concerns at all. So we're not going to export this just yet. Right here, this is a lot of steps, frankly. It could be halved and still sound just as good, but this is something that I kind of cobbled together and it just kind of works for me. It's not good, so it's not neat, but it is good. I highly recommend that you follow the tutorial that I linked to get your settings for equalization, normalization, and compression. I won't be of much help there if you're looking for specific numbers. I'll just explain what each step does. So, equalizing will bring out some high and low end frequencies, which will make my voice sound brighter, but also a little bit deeper. It's important not to go too heavy on these settings, as they can cause distortion after a certain point, and it can just sound unnatural. Normalizing will generally make things sound louder. I'm not an audio dude, so I can only really tell you what I see in the waveform. After I normalize, things generally get bigger on the waveform. Compression is what will make your quiet audio. It'll make sure your quiet audio isn't really quiet compared to the very loud parts. Like, it'll make the louder parts quieter and the quieter parts louder, so that everything's a little bit more consistent and you're not having to turn up and turn down your volume all the time while you're listening to, while someone's listening to you talk. And then normalize will make that nice and loud again after that. I think I equalized again to get a little more lower end, and then added a noise gate to remove all sounds below a certain threshold. So this means that sounds like my computer fans and controller noise get silenced almost completely, because the noise gate is essentially another form of compression, though things get quiet again, so I normalize to get it loud again. If for some reason the audio is still kind of quiet after that, this can be caused generally by having your microphone volume too high and clipping the waveform when you speak really loudly. I add a +5 decibel amplification. So we go to effects, amplitude and compression, amplify. Again, the box appears off screen. And I just add a 5 decibel amp. And then after that's been done, I go to effects, I go to amplitude and compression, dynamics processing. I have, so you know my name now, my name is Sam. Sam noise gate at 20 decibels. This is set up basically so that it gets rid of all the noise that I've been able to find without affecting my voice. So basically we'll apply this right now because I can see a bit of, sorry, I could see a little bit of purple in this histogram down here. And basically if you see purple, that means there's some background noise. So we'll press back right there, so you can see there's purple around the bottom right there. And then if we go forward again to the next step, it's all gone, it's black. That means this is basically silent, which is good for high quality audio. After all that's done, I'm generally happy with the audio. I hit export. I make sure I export it as a mono file, as I've said before. And I replace the old audio with the new one. So right now, I will export, file, audio 3, 2. I like to rename this processed. I will put this in Dark Souls 2. blind. First session. This was episode 26. And audio 3.2 processed. Save. Export. So now we'll go back to Premiere. We'll have a look at the audio 3.2.wav and we will replace this footage with audio 3.2 processed. And I'll let you have a listen to it right now. I'll give it a play for you now. Oh, cool. So we're just going to do a quick test here. This is our audio that we're going to be editing in Audition. And now I will reverse the edit that I made. This appears that it's just gone now. Lovely. Hold on, let me redo that. Replace that again with the audio 3.2.wav. And I'll play this for you now. Toggle. So we're just going to do a quick test here. This is our audio that we're going to be editing in Audition. So as you can tell, that was probably a lot quieter and a lot different to how the other file was. So we'll replace this again. Replace footage. Processed. So there it is, and we're going to play it one more time. Oh, cool. So we're just going to do a quick test here. This is our audio that we're going to be editing in Audition. So there we go. That is basically the process of how I do all of my audio editing. I use Audition, I use Premiere or Audacity to record the first round of audio. Then I put the audio into Audition and I do my hotkey, which basically does all of my editing. It does like all the equalizer, normalize, compression, normalizing, and all the other nonsense with the noise gate and everything. Gets it sounding nice and crisp and clean. And then we just dump it back into Premiere and it's done. It's ready to be exported like normal. So that's basically what I do with it. Thank you guys for watching. I'm sorry if this has been a little bit rambly and a little bit stumbly and awkward, but I'm just realizing that I don't entirely know quite what my Audition settings actually... I mean, I know what they do. It's just that I can't actually view what the settings for each of them are. So again, I'm going to link that video that I used to learn all of this to begin with. And that will tell you basically what to do for your equalizer, your normalize, your compression, and your normalize. And then basically you'll have to sort out your own noise gate. Noise gate is a preset in there, so I'll open this up now. I'll select it all, effects, amplitude and compression, dynamics processing, and we'll go to the noise gates. There is a noise gate right here, noise gate at 20 decibels. It is different to my personal noise gate because when I use the normal noise gate, it cut off some of my voice because my voice can tend to go quite quiet at times. So we want to keep that from happening ever again. So I messed about with a few of these settings, pulled these dots up and down until I could play and I could hear myself all the time without hearing any distortion or without hearing the fan noise in the background and that kind of stuff. So thank you guys for watching. I hope this has been helpful in some way, and I'll see you next time.